Winnie Kingi is on a mission.
Well, I'm heading back to Wairoa to see my muckles. During the cyclone, obviously, we had no contact with them, and it was really, really hard.
With the only road into Wairoa open from Gisborne, this little fiberglass boat is offering a lifeline to whānau based in Napier and Hastings who have been unable to reconnect with loved ones.
This guy here, Nathan, he has given us this opportunity to take that journey across the sea. As soon as I seen that on Facebook, I was in. So I'm here today to go and see the family.
Until last week, when the Napier to Taupo road was reopened, whānau were faced with a 12 to 14 hour drive. Even now, the road trip is still expected to take up to 8 hours.
How hard has it been not being able to reconnect with whānau?
Oh, the old head going through the roof, not knowing how they were. But until the contact came through, well, the old head, crying, oh my gosh, the amount of crying I did was unreal.
Providing we don't have any wind, you will stay dry, and the forecast is for lovely seas, lovely conditions.
After hearing the plight of some whānau who were stranded from their families, experienced skipper Nathan Aldridge put up his hand.
We had mates that had families stuck up here, elderly family. When the phones were down, they couldn't get a hold of them, and we were looking at different ways, like four-wheelers or trucks or different ways to get through. And how are we going to get there? And I was just sort of saying, well, you know, we go fishing up places like this all the time. We come diving in different areas like every other day. Let's just go up in the boats. So that's where we normally go, just diving on Pānia. I believe the best mussels in New Zealand. Other people argue that it's not, but... So the word just got out, and then the Facebook thing, and then they sharing it all over the show. All my phone hasn't stopped going ding, ding for bloody ages, you know. But, oh, well, you know, I'm good at driving the boat.
It's not a trip for the faint-hearted. There's still slash from the floods around, but Nathan says the rides will be reserved for fine days.
We didn't have any issues, I thought, and like I say, a couple of pairs of eyes, I say to people, like, keep an eye out, even if I've seen it. Don't feel bad to tell me if there's a log there, but, yeah, no. They're getting less and less. I love it out here on the briny. What else would you want to do with your life? I used to do it like charters and stuff, so I know what's going to happen. I know the reactions of people and that, and you know, we were pretty clear at the start, you know, guys, do this, do that, keep it in here, it's going to bounce here, it's going to be lovely here. I don't think we had too much drama apart from the yahoos, you know, and it's, you know, we're getting along quite fast, and you know, I can understand that it is a bit scary for the uninitiated.
There's the Wairoa Bridge!
Everyone wants to come again, you know, they all love it.
For a koha to cover petrol costs, the trip takes around 2 hours.
Finally! Yes, we've made it home. So now I'm off to see my muckles.
Meeting us is the newly appointed Wairoa Recovery Manager, Benita Tahuri. The township's isolation has meant clean-up has been long and slow.
So we're just coming across the bridge, and in Bowler, our bridge got taken out, so this was made higher so that wouldn't happen again. But the main breaching of the river was behind this area, right in the back there. So the flooding came from behind right over to this area as we're coming down here on the North Clyde side. It was a strange, quiet flooding, and of course it wasn't raining, it was actually fairly fine, it was early in the morning, so a real shock, and there were no signs that it was going to flood like this. It just came on like some talked about like a tsunami, like a wave of water. There was flooding, but then there was another full-on wave that came up.
overnight too.
A massive cleanups happened. Whānau community working together just to make it happen.
Massive mahi crew. Thank you.
It took a long time to get help because, of course, we're out of communication for 4 days with the outside world. So most whānau just got on and did what they could. 125 yellow sticker homes in the area, and I think there's about 150 white stickers homes, and there were 2 red ones. Over here are the Kaumata flats, which were all evacuated. You see the yellow stickers there. Bit of a clean-up's happened, but still a lot to go. 29-30% of our housing stock was damaged.
Like other areas, marae have opened their doors to those hardest hit. Whetū Marama Marae is an unofficial hub which has become home to Tia Stewart and her 4 tamariki.
Yeah, and so this has been their home for the last sort of little while. As you can see, that the river is actually way over there in the back of those trees there, and all the sludge and the water actually came right up to this bank here. So there were normally gardens down in here, days gone by, grass area, trees. Yeah, so it was actually a nice grass area, and because people used to just walk straight down there to the river and go white baiting and things like that. Yeah.
We've had flooding before down our street, and the nights that we were meant to be getting this big cyclone, well, I thought nothing of it. I thought we were going to be fine. And I stayed up till about 1 o'clock to check the river. It was fine, and I got up about 5 o'clock to make my baby a bottle, and then woke back up at 6, and by 7 o'clock the water was already halfway in my house. We had to swim through our backyard to the highway. I was quite freaked out. My dad had just got through the Frasetown Bridge, and he was waiting on the highway on his truck, so the kids got chucked on there. And by the time we left, my van was half covered in water.
Tia, like many others in Wairoa, is now in limbo.
And I think there's the mamae, the pauri about what's happened to us as a whole people is just right there on the surface for many of us. I wasn't directly affected, but have feel for whānau like Tia and our nephew and all their children about what their future looks like. Mm.
So now we are thinking about the transition phase and moving forward into recovery, which is difficult to look to the future when you're still got no home, and the clean-up for many is still happening. And our whānau, some have just come home and started their clean-up, and people want to move into the next space, and planning happens, and we just don't want anybody to get left behind. We're a small community, but by population, the percentage of the impact, it's just significant.
The message to government is clear. Wairoa needs Wairoa-specific funding.
You've touched on a couple of points there about making sure no one's left behind, and today we're announcing that we are, as Tata Tato, underwriting $2.5 million in clean-up effort to make sure no one gets left behind in the clean-up. We know our government partners at some time will come back and help us reimburse us in that.
Tātou o te Wairoa manages the settlement redress on behalf of the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o te Wairoa and has stepped in to get things moving.
So our concern is that we're going to be underserved moving forward. It's a legitimate concern, and so locally we're working together to strengthen our own networks here and stand up and have a voice, because we're broke but we're not broken.
The underwritten funds will be used to remove the huge amounts of silt now covering the northern side of Wairoa, a job the local council hasn't been able to do because of the huge costs involved.
Oh, there was muddy everywhere. A lot of swearing, heaps of crying, heaps of going out on the road and sitting down to have a cup of tea. All of that. Some of us didn't even have water. We had that drum brought to us so that we could That was for all the toilets on our street.
Moko's usually at school, called to shovel silt and help Nan.
Well, all of us grown-ups would have to dig the silt and throw it into the wheelbarrows, and they would have to wheel it out on the road. Because this was covered in silt and we were slipping everywhere, so before they came, her and I were busy. Would have been dragging it out on the road.
Geographically isolated, politically isolated. We've got, you know, some this way and some that way. So we have always, like we've always done in disaster, come together as a Wairoa Whānau whānui to sort it out.
We finally got her water sorted today.
Justin Marker's whānau home was in the direct path of the floodwaters that broke through the Wairoa riverbanks on February the 14th.
No flood warnings. I think our river broke its bank behind us. Now we got 7 rivers flowing in past our house. Yeah, we see where the mud level was. Like just between those posts, that was this whole front yard.
Like half of those affected, Justin has no insurance.
Yeah, we just got to make do now.
Yeah.
But seeing people throw away their fridges and stuff and washing machines, and did a YouTube dive and found out how to fix them. Like last week I had no idea how to fix a washing machine. We good now. Right, whānau, if you see any of these on the side of the road after flood damage, it looks paru. It looks like it's not going to work, full of mud. Give it a good clean. Clean all the muck out of in there and out of that tree. Keep the water in there. And remember that this unit is airtight, it's gas, so nothing has gone into it. It still goes. Clear all the mud out of this top tree, that's your radiator. Make sure there's water in it when you plug it back in and turn it on. If it hums, you're off. That's me. We'll find someone to give it to tomorrow. So don't throw them away, whānau, otherwise I'm coming to pick them up and I'm giving them away.
Everybody worked together where they could to make it happen in our community from within. We had no choice, but it did just show how resilient we are as a community, and we can weave that together for the future. Moving forward, we don't want to lose that by getting separated and siloed out when different departments say we've got this and we've got that. We want to base centrally so that we can look after ourselves and make the decisions that are going to most impact positively for our whānau that are impacted and our community.
A community slowly linking up to the outside world.
Awesome. It was Mickey. Had a massive night.
I actually left my car in Ahuriri pre the storm, and the whakaaro was to come home to Mahia and go back after the storm, but with the road conditions, that was not happening. But for me, not just only retrieving my car, but also just reconnecting with my loved ones. And then going to do whakamoemuti at Mamawa.